Okay. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope the ACT went well for you. For those of you who actually attended. The AZ side, right? Because it's a science one specifically. So today we are continuing on from where we left off on Monday, where we asked about how you can generate electricity by spinning a coil around a magnet. And it turns out most of our sources of power around the world basically do exactly the same thing in increasingly fancy ways. So today we're going to split you all up into 4 different groups, and you guys will be focusing on these 4 sources of power: burning coal, nuclear energy, hydroelectric, which means basically dams, and wind turbines.
I have one question.
Yes.
Are we doing a poster on this?
No posters, just whiteboards.
Oh, no.
Whiteboards are easy. If we wanted to do a poster, we would have to make it across the whole thing. So, but groups will research the way that their type generates electricity. In other words, what fancy way do they have to spin their coil? Yes.
Groups of 2 or 3?
This is going to be big groups. So everybody's going to be split into, one group is going to be working on this, one group is on this, one group's on this, one
Are
group's
we
on this.
choosing our groups?
You can choose your groups unless the groups get too big and unwieldy, in which case I will try to switch you off into groups that are too small. So, you're going to research the way it spins the coil, and then you're going to research positive and negative aspects of how good that energy source is. So, for example, if it's a cheap source versus if it is dirty and messes up with the environment, those are examples of pros and cons. Each group will have 2 of our usual small whiteboards. On one of them, you will put a diagram of how it is that it spins the coil. And on the other one, you'll list the pros and you'll list the cons. So, who wants to be in the coal group?
The cold room?
The coal.
Well, we gotta pick our groups before we just know.
I would like to be the hydroelectric. I already did last year, so.
Huh?
No.
Alright, let's not go crazy. Let's organize things first. So, is there anyone who wants to be in coal, just to get it out of the way? Anyone who wants to not be? All right, we're leaving coal for last again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
who wants to be in the nuclear group?
You saw my hand first.
You saw my
There's
hand.
quite a few hands up, so
hands
try
right
and figure it out amongst
I will
yourselves.
throw hands if I need to.
So, we'll come back to that since there's so many.
Hey.
How many want to be in the hydro group?
I'll give you
Okay.
all of
Yeah, yeah,
So,
right
if you
here.
want hydro, then you're up here around the front. So, who wants to do the wind group? Who wants to talk about wind turbines? You want to go? Okay, let's go with that with wind. All right, we got that for wind. So, before we lock into nuclear, does anyone care about coal at all? Even if you just want to dunk on it, you can talk about coal. Unfortunately, that seems to be the response. So, would you guys like to be coal? Just out of curiosity now? Someone has to be coal.
Let them do it.
He's raising his hand for coal.
Yes.
Raise his hand.
These are the 4 that we're working on.
You have solar and you have particle accelerator.
Those 2 are not spinning Teslas, so we're not going to do that.
Still nuclear.
All right, fine. We'll do nuclear first. If it seems too big, I'm going to split it off into a whole bunch of coal.
Just do 2.
That
means half the time it does.
We need someone to
Vision keeps water in the water.
You need someone to do cold?
And then you use that
I know.
All right. So whoever wants to do coal will work with Sabrina.
Yep. I can do, I can.
We just don't make energy
Don't
off of it.
jack my wheel.
So we can't, that's not viable. So we don't do it. We research, we just want to make it.
Hydro is over here. Nuclear is over there. Sabrina is coal. Anyone who wants to work on coal can work with Sabrina. And you guys are. Wait, which one are you guys going
Get over here.
Bros, are you there?
Get over here. I'm not coming to you.
Well, it looks like we're at an impasse. It looks like no one's moving, so we're not moving. Boys, it's nap time.
Okay, so what do you
I'll sleep on your shoulder, you sleep on your shoulder.
You guys get this, I guess?
Can I get a big whiteboard? Like, which means that.
You can draw on there if you want.
You know what? Y'all can have this.
We don't need this.
Nope, yeah, you do. I have it. This is my area to perform my work.
We're doing it on the big board.
Nah, that's how it works.
Is there another way you can fully generate power besides the way? I got it. So I've heard of the nuclear diamond.
So which group are you guys with again?
I don't know.
Nah. Wait, you guys are doing cool? No, I'm hoping. No, you guys are doing nuclear. You guys are.
No, because they're not nuclear. That's a huge group.
Oh, then you guys have cool. Hey,
Sabrina.
no.
Let's do it in black. What? Could you write whole?
Not about it, Dr. Blake. Yes, a bunch of white guys doing it in black. Really good stuff.
Because it's whole. Can you grab the other whiteboard? Oh my lord.
You should find me on the dance floor.
Can you, why are you doing it? We have the entire board.
No.
Literally erased.
Alright, no, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it. No, Aiden, you've tried, you failed.
Oh, actually, let's do it. Let's just draw
As long as he's not the one doing it.
Let's just do it on the big board.
Hey, look, bro.
Dude,
Okay, so it's a pro of coal. It's cheap.
Oh my god.
You can find it anywhere.
Yeah, it's easy to find. So it's abundant.
If you don't find it quick
Well, it was.
Don't, bro.
It was.
It gets rid of our natural resources.
yeah,
Years. Big and dirty.
There we go.
destroy all evidence of dinosaurs.
I'm just gonna draw. Where should I draw? You guys do the pros and cons.
Instead of less natural resources, write non-renewable resource. That sounds smarter.
Yeah, I agree with that. We should probably do that in the big board.
We're like young doctors. That's
Yeah, go. Copy and paste that.
Move.
On the big board.
So he says.
oh yeah, we lost family. This dude, bro, like this is his freaking wind down. That's his wind down. Like this.
Actually, we could
Look how gay that looks.
make coal renewable. All we have to do
I'm not gonna
is,
have
you know,
enough room
get me
for this
That's how
going.
it's
I need to make it
very
big.
specific amount of dogs and
I need a
everything.
frame.
And eventually, with enough refreshing.
Small whiteboards are just for the sake of
I'm
convenience.
saying you can screen curve, then make it in the file.
Like,
You might need to maybe do that.
Yeah, I like this.
then we were like chicken little bitch. Oh,
There you go.
He was like picking off so much. And so, and then when he got on the bases and he stole, our catcher gunned him out. But we have our center fielder at second, so our center fielder catches it and doesn't put the tag on it.
And then go back
And oh, he was beans, but he was like chicken little bitch. Sorry, next time we play them, next week we're beaming them right. Right now, Sonic, Skylar and Perry are beaming them. We hold a spot there.
Do
Look out, like, pictures like this.
I want to be part of my
His face, I was like, 3 for 4.
I
He raises his face, he goes,
love nuclear stuff. I think it's fun.
and then like, oh,
What the fudge is
I
that?
tell you what, I build the missile, you work on my.
What do you know about
You build the ICBM? Bro, those are so sick. Have you seen them? Have you seen how they work? Like they'll spin the turbines with the combustion itself to speed up the amount of fuel they get in. It's absurd.
You want to add some of those to the pro list?
Like it's like a turbo, but instead of using like the exhaust from it, they just use the combustion.
Build up a
Jared just takes one thing and makes it 4 others.
up in the north. That's
We went from war.
I wanted to do nuclear power. Warheads.
You're talking about ICBMs. And so I'm talking about their thrusters, because those are interesting
Oh,
too.
there's no way.
Alright.
Hey, it's not like I want to get in aerospace engineering.
Job Empire.
I don't know, that's what he means, but you got mining, you got coal.
Yeah, I guess there's that.
Like almost half of it.
I was gonna put.
It's a job empire because it's an enterprise. It's not like these set of jobs. It's these sets of jobs because you got people who work on the trucks, the engineers,
Or how much of that knowledge base is transferable to mining uranium for nuclear power?
About half of it. You just have to add more for minor.
Yeah, it's true.
PPE.
Personal protective. I'm glad that we all know what that means because of COVID.
Well, OSHA, we're breaking a lot of OSHA violations.
You're familiar with OSHA violations, aren't you?
Very good.
Selecting that little. For the record, no, you're not going to bring your weird battery-powered, destroy all of the equipment thing to class.
No, I am. I already did.
You did,
I just
but you're not going to power it and use it in class.
Should rewire.
I'm curious. What is this?
So I have a massive electromagnet.
Yes.
I mean, so it's about.
You should just send pulses into it.
Bigger than my fist. It's got about grade 10 wire and about 285 coils.
That's right. It is brown.
Why did you feel the need to make this thing?
Did you measure the forces
It's
on
gonna like
it?
destroy my watch, man. You can't.
That's going to destroy your watch. It's going to destroy the phone. It's going to destroy the.
So-
I don't care about
phone.
that.
So I want you to understand.
Fixing these is expensive.
So I want you to understand. It's so powerful. I couldn't use neutral wire because it would grab everything around it.
You did nothing.
So I cover it so it only grabs whatever's inside of my car.
You should have used the naked. That would be fun. Just flip it
Well,
on.
the funny part is I made it for a school project for an electric brake system.
Yeah. You were so busy thinking about whether or not you could, you didn't stop to think about if you should.
Just the crazy part is I could wire a capacitor to it.
Yeah, perhaps
And now I'm in
this
EMC.
is the diagram.
I could probably take down this whole thing.
Not the scientific method. Let's make a hypothesis.
Please don't, for the record, please don't.
We'll need to make several tests. You know, that way we have. You
So,
know,
out of curiosity, that stack thing, I'm pretty sure I know what's coming out of that, but do you know what the gas is called?
Smoke.
What's in the smoke? Carbon dioxide. That's the big one. So, if that's not on your con list, it should be.
That's a
greenhouse
pro.
gases.
Why is that a pro?
It feeds the plants.
The plants have enough food already. They don't need more.
The plants take that extra carbon dioxide.
Yeah, it makes more plants than we're currently running out of.
There's other ways. There's enough CO2 in the atmosphere already to feed plants for 1 billion years.
Which in turn creates more jobs.
That's why we need to worry about. That's why we need to worry about. Yeah, billion years, but what about
Right now.
after that?
I don't think there would be enough Earth surface for us to live on.
We'll just expand the earth. Not that big of a deal.
And we could also just do vertical farming.
Or we can drag the moon into us over time.
Okay, global warming. Now I've got two solutions for you. One, giant ice cube in the ocean.
I love that episode of Futurama.
Yeah. Two, if that fails,
I can see why you needed the full size for.
That's such a good Futurama.
I know.
I got a better idea. Poke a hole.
In the atmosphere, let the greenhouse gases out. Yeah. It's like you know, you have to puncture a cow's stomach to let the gas out. It's just like
Now we're
And then
thinking.
reclose it, guys.
We should become climate
you know, if
scientists.
we make like a really long pipe and you just feed it out.
I could get us in a UN meeting. We could present this tomorrow.
If they not thought of this already, these scientists
Yeah,
are
just move us
stupid.
farther down. Open the atmosphere.
Sir, we harvest a comet.
No.
Get a giant ice cube and put it in the ocean.
You know, if it's gases or issues.
Sir, I will do it.
Just make more.
I will harvest this.
Sir, why don't we just make a lot of ice cubes and then put them in the ocean? We don't even gotta go.
Oh yeah, no, we don't even need a giant one. We can just, every American household is gonna like fill up their ice tray every night and then dump it in the ocean.
The tax, the ice cube tax.
So there's an ice cream glass that should be going in the ocean.
It's gonna be there next week. Don't worry. You really love the pipe like you're saying,
And will be in
Carbon
critical
dioxide.
spots here.
Wait, so we just make this smokestack go all the way to the moon?
I'm gonna just pump the moon full.
What if we just go to
No, we
Mars?
don't even need to go to the moon. We just need to at least go like above the atmosphere and maybe low Earth orbit.
The aliens watching us? Smokestacks? Like a big ass factory on the plane. Technically, you could. Just pump it all out.
I don't think so. I don't think we have the material strong enough to build like a sky elevator.
We do. We just don't have the money.
What material?
You know, I haven't figured out why instead of taking all of this time to,
Trust me.
launch people out into space, why don't we just make a giant elevator?
Well, I guess I should label it.
Yeah, you should probably label what each one is.
Is your wear soft?
What is she doing? Oh, a hydro.
Alright, any more pros or cons? What have we got? I think this sums it up.
Feel for our
So,
but that's not
an actual
necessarily.
pro for is it's reliable. You can use it at any time.
Oh, come on, he's a happy face.
It's also easily scalable. You can just make more of it and it just work.
cannot make more.
I mean, you can make more plants in the same area and it will just work. Like, there's only so much dam that you can do. You can't scale a dam for more. And there's only so much wind you can get because there's a limited amount of wind in a certain area.
Unless you turn a big fan on.
Yeah.
Plug the windmill.
Yeah.
Well, then that will just cause more energy to be
Okay, so
But
what
then
did you
you're
put our
replacing.
idea? So we extend the smokestack past the
I'll
atmosphere.
draw some birds.
I feel like it'd be easier to just catch the tried to help you if
But no, you just pump
Yeah,
it.
that
You
fish
just
was
pump
not
all of
killed
that.
What if we put like a really big fan right here and we just like blow it up
I think
past the
that would take more
atmosphere?
energy than you would generate from the coal.
We pump
unfortunately.
all the gas in the atmosphere out.
We kind of need at least some of it.
If
Well,
we're
we're
just
not
about generating energy with having enough fans, we just have a bunch of guys down there with, you know, those big feather things that you can burr with.
They'll create more jobs.
Yeah,
It would
exactly.
create
More
more
jobs.
jobs. It would also create a need for a lot more food to fuel all of those hungry workers.
They don't
No, just 8 buff guys. Just run around.
8 buff guys.
And just spin the blade all day.
Really love it.
They'll just run and spin the blade.
I can do it.
No?
I'll be one of them.
Would you want to be the fanner for that sort of thing forever?
Why not? It's a big,
It's a solid, it's a stable career.
Big buff dude, no shirt on.
I don't know. For me, it just sounds very boring. Just waving a fan back and forth.
No, like it'd be like a giant fan blade, you know, like this, and
Yeah,
then you'd be
you'll
running
stand-
around.
You stand under it.
And you'd be running in sequence with a bunch of other guys
like
too.
eight-
It would be for carbon.
You sit there, you like you.
Sometimes you can like hit a switch and up the resistance of the fan to get a better
And just start
fan.
pumping down.
Let's just ditch the coal power altogether and just make that our main source of power.
To be fair, well, you can. Bicycle.
Toddlers.
No, this is what I say. We turn gyms into power plants. And all the machines just create energy.
Wait, that's what I said yesterday.
So now you're copying
Yeah, I
the
believe you
Monday.
mentioned that to him on Monday.
Monday, yeah, I threw that out there on Monday, didn't I? I thought I did.
I didn't hear it.
I think someone from another class told it to you, and then you shared it with this class as well.
Did I?
Remember
Well,
that in this class.
oh yeah. Someone said a hamster. Someone in third hour said a hamster wheel. Yeah, and that got me going on that. Yeah.
Turn our gyms into power.
Yep.
What if like we hook people up to, you know, like these brain things, right? And we have them as batteries.
reality.
Yeah, batteries in a fake reality.
If we did that, we
The
turn gyms
energy
into
that
power
we
sources.
harvest
It'll solve 2 issues.
not only powers
Obesity rates
and, you know,
energy rates.
creates this
They
reality.
have to pay a lot of people to go to gyms on that level for and that would cost the
No.
government
And we
money.
can have it spinning around.
No, if you want your house to work, you go to the gym.
It's
That's a little bit tyrannical, if you ask
Kind of
me.
straightforward.
It's kind of tyrannical, just a little bit.
Put your weekly work in and we're cutting power out.
How are we doing so far? How ready do you think you guys are?
Yeah, 10 more minutes, I think. That's it.
That's
Well,
really
we need
nice.
that time to present.
what
So
appreciate it.
it's
Cartoon,
five,
you
but I would like to. I would like to
Every
move
rep you
that
get
to
5
the
cents.
song.
This is actually a fire idea. I think we gotta start a business. Because one, it motivates people to start working out, and it makes hours. Like you do a rep, you get 5 cents.
Alright, so how many reps do you get if you get $1.20?
But you get, but you.
So it's like
That's actually
you
not
get like
bad.
$2 every set or so.
It's actually not bad, especially since you're probably getting paid by the energy shop.
No, like we go start our own gym.
We
We
actually
pay
start
people
your
to
gym,
go there.
but you sell the ends and the 2 extra fees. Small portion.
Alright. So which group would like to present first?
We created a new idea.
A new idea.
A new
Alright,
business.
well,
idea.
share it with the rest of the
Millions.
class while you do your presentation.
No.
Three marketing students right here came from Best Idea.
Because then they still eat.
If no one volunteers, I'm going to volunteer someone to present first. So who would like to present first?
I got this, I got it.
Alright, so we're going to
We should
go.
go ask.
I drove first. Alright.
Yeah, with all of her mountains of money, she's thinking
I still have more to add.
They're gonna be missing stuff. They're gonna be missing stuff.
Alright,
We have
so
to dog on it.
we're going to present with Hydro first, so everybody rise up.
Credit cards.
Take a look at Sabrina's gorgeous presentation of what
She can go get money from her.
So, first, would you explain how Hydro generates electricity for us?
I'm not paid.
Right.
We're waiting.
So, how does the dam generate electricity?
Well, guys, just look at the diagram.
What is that?
I can't see.
I don't know what it
You
means.
can't see.
So,
I can't think of
the
it.
dam,
It's an electronic mural.
so the dam creates a whole bunch of water behind it in the form of a reservoir.
Yeah, so this
Mr. James,
is the river.
The water flows through the dam down into the river below, and as it's flowing, it hits a turbine. And what does the turbine do?
That's the turbine right there.
So, the turbine spins, it spins a coil around a magnet, and that makes the electricity.
AKA the generator that goes to long distance power lines.
Never be a boss.
Alright, so what are some of the pros and cons of a dam?
She'd never be a boss.
It's renewable energy. It's reliable. Dams. Because it's consistent and it has high power output.
Yes. What are some of the cons?
Please put your hand down. I didn't ask for any questions.
Dang.
Dang.
Hard, I gotta say. It's a damn
The
good
cons
system.
are there are droughts and there's some environmental consequences. Like you just can't put a lake where a lake
Wasn't
never.
there previously.
Yeah, that's where the Hoover Dam was built. There are floods and it is expensive. And please don't talk.
So, dams are one of the highest energy output renewable sources that we have, but they have a few issues. For the one thing, building the actual dam is very expensive because it's a huge, massive concrete, it's very complicated. If the dam ever breaks, then you've got the risk of massive flooding downstream.
25 souls.
And even if the dam is not going to ever break, you've got the issue of there's a whole bunch of environmental disruption. So, they are a good source of power, but there's only so many of them they can build. They have to build them on a river, and there's only so many rivers to go around.
So,
it's not a perfect source.
Sabrina, another question.
For our other
What do you
renewable
want?
energy source, which you
So what
guys
happens
do
if it doesn't
compete
rain?
and show how you
That's your
make
fault,
up for the
honestly.
dam's shortcomings.
But then your power source.
Get better.
How renewable?
That would be the way to go.
Good answer.
Strictly speaking, nuclear is not renewable.
all your fault.
So, would you like to go next? You can present from where you are if you like.
The reason why I'm not rich and famous yet.
So, how does wind generate electricity?
Fix it.
So you have the sign right here.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like it's like the thing you see when you go to California.
Yeah.
It's just like pictures, right? And it just like the wind spins this, and then it spins like the generator there, and then it takes all the electricity through the wire.
It's going.
I don't know where it actually goes.
And that's where.
There it is.
So turbines would
Your backpack? No, it's here.
Turbines would just win. Yeah.
Can you put your in the lower left-hand corner?
I honestly don't know if it's I don't know if it.
Like, I'm
Don't worry about it.
make
It's not important. So,
You know,
the pros and cons
throw
of
that on my head.
Let's roll this over.
is
Never mind.
no emissions.
Like, get him to be fighting.
Guys, there is a presentation going on. Let's keep it down, please.
Alright, so what is the cons?
The cons is that it's not reliable because you can't just like always rely that there was wind to be there. They put noise pollution and visual pollution, and then
Intermittent.
okay, yes, visual pollution. They can't be built like wherever.
Yeah. So wind relies on a lot of factors in order to actually come into play. You have to have a consistent source of wind in an area. It's often very seasonal, so you don't always get wind going through there. And unfortunately, wind often doesn't blow at night, which is when you need the most amount of power because everybody has their lights on in their house. It's a good source of energy that is nice and clean, but it's not consistent enough that we can build an energy grid off of it. So it's good as a supplemental source, not as a primary source. For a primary source, the one that is the biggest across the entire world would be coal. Alright, so how does coal work? Please explain why it is the most common energy source in the world.
So you can build a coal plant anywhere because all you're doing is burning coal.
Yep.
So you burn coal in this room and it heats up water that you have running through these pipes, and that turns into steam. And then the steam uses its pressure to spin turbines, which charges and makes electricity.
Yep.
And then you have the extra smoke that comes off of burning the coal, and that's CO2, and that's leading to global warming.
Be very worried
What are
about
some,
CO2.
what are some of the pros and cons of coal as a power source?
So the pros for coal is that it's cheap, it has a good job market in the form of the mining and power industry, it's reliable, and it's easily scalable, which means you can increase it. The cons is that, I need it this way, the cons is that coal is non-renewable and it's very pollutive, especially in the forms of soot and greenhouse gases.
Yeah. Coal is something that you can easily build a power source off of because of how easy it is to just plop it down anywhere and constantly fuel it with new amounts of fuel. You can run it at night at any time. You can scale it as high as you need to meet the demands of the energy sector. It's a perfect energy source, except for the fact that it is extremely dirty and makes our atmosphere filled with more and more CO2 that causes us to have more and more. It is a great energy source for when you need it, but unfortunately it's something we need to move away from, otherwise we're going to make our planet unlivable. So we need to stop using it. And the best source of energy to replace coal as a backbone of the energy grid is?
We're basically coal coolers.
We can be used for two things.
So tell us how nuclear power plants work. So how do nuclear power plants work, guys?
So basically, they have really good radioactive material. Heats up water, creates steam, which can power the coils to spin, and that creates electricity, a current that goes into the grid, and then the grid is into the city.
Yeah. So what is it about the nuclear material that makes it heat things up?
It's
So how that basically works is you have a lot of really heavy elements, and if you bombard them with enough neutrons, they'll split off, more neutrons will go off, and they'll have energy, and they'll cause a chain reaction that keeps the reaction going. That's how fission works, yeah. So we don't have fusion down yet because it's too complicated. So what are some of the pros and cons of fission as a power source?
Very clean.
Can't maintain it.
But it is very expensive.
What's extremely expensive?
If someone messes up, we could all die.
There's a lot of room for bad disasters that can cause a lot of problems.
And the nuclear
We have to use fission to start fusion.
but it's stored
I'm sure if I keep a couple of rocks and hit them together hard enough,
Lasts a real long time. And most importantly, nuclear makes a lot of power, a crazy amount of power. What was it, 1 gram was uranium-235? Has the same amount of power as
two
has
rocks
3
of
tons
uranium and
coal.
just slam them together really hard.
Overall, just better, but unfortunately,
Shoot 'em at each other in the gun.
it has a bad rep in the overall community because of stuff like Chernobyl. So, even though it has caused way less damage on the face of it than all the fossil fuels have across their entire history,
As long as
the
we
potential for
do
danger
two
is so
things.
scary that
One,
people just
put
don't
them
want to
in
believe.
Russia or Russian-controlled space.
It is the future, and until we realize that, we're gonna keep having problems and keep having to rely on coal.
You think I would know?
So I believe maybe you'll have to say for the
Let's put it. Hold on, my turn to nuclear group. All right, guys. All right, so we've got a uranium atom, right? And you've got another one. You can have different numbers of neutrons in the nucleus, and it can still be a uranium atom, right? What's that called when you have the same thing, right? Uranium, 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 but you have different numbers of neutrons in the nucleus. I remember that from last year. Starts with an I.
Oh, ion.
So close. Isotopes. There you go. There you go. Exactly right. Now, here's the thing. Certain isotopes of elements are more stable than other ones. Basically, an atom wants to have a certain number of neutrons in the nucleus, right? If you have too many or too few, the nucleus becomes unstable and will split apart. Okay. So what you do is you take a relatively stable isotope of uranium and you keep on shooting neutrons at it until it gets too many neutrons in it, and it splits, right? When that uranium atom splits, it releases neutrons that stick to the other uranium atoms. They become unstable. They split. It's a gigantic chain reaction. That's what that is. That's the specifics of how that works. Okay, good job, guys.
So those are the four big power sources that work off of spinning a coil around a magnet to generate electricity. There's a few other kinds that use slightly different methods. So for example, solar panels, they use a chemical reaction to generate their electricity based off of sunlight hitting them. Geothermal is another source of like this kind of spin a coil around a magnet, but it's a little too niche, and I didn't want you guys to waste time researching it when it's so like you're not going to have a volcano you can just tap into anywhere. It's very niche, and it only works in certain places, but it's pretty good where it works. What are some of the other power sources that we use?
Particle accelerator.
Particle accelerator is a user of energy. It doesn't generate energy.
Get better, Isaac.
It's useful for science purposes, but it's not a way that you generate power.
To get up and sustainable running, we can't.
I don't know.
We just recently got
It's
it
not like
running.
very widely used, but like there's some companies that use like waves on the
Oh, ocean waves. Yeah, you can use that. That's another source. It's more consistent than wind, but less consistent than stuff like solar. So it's a bit of a pro and con. It might work at night though, so that's a potential difference. So there's a whole bunch of ways you can use magnets to generate electricity and whatnot. But speaking of transmission of waves, that's what we're going to be working on as our next unit. But we'll worry about that tomorrow. You guys got the rest of the time for yourselves. Good job, everybody.
Man, we're using a particle accelerator.
And